Hi, and welcome back to MyExcelOnline.com. Today we are going to go over how to create macros in Microsoft Access. Now, Microsoft Access macros are a little bit different than Excel macros because in Microsoft Access, the process of creating actions is very, very user-friendly, whereas in Excel, you might have to learn VBA. And VBA is also used in Microsoft Access. It's just used through modules, which we will give an introduction to next week. But the macros in Access are really, really easy to use, and they are a great stepping stone to learning how to program. There actually is a converter inside of Microsoft Access that will take your macros and convert them to Visual Basic for Applications code. And this is actually the way I learned to code in Microsoft Access and Visual Basic, and even expanding it to other languages after that as well. So Visual Basic for Applications is a great stepping stone to other computer languages. So if you're new to the coding world, macros in Microsoft Access are a really great place to start. If you want to learn more about Microsoft Excel and Office, join our Academy online course and access more than 1,000 video training tutorials so that you can advance your level and get the promotions, pay raises, or new jobs. The link to join our Academy online course is in the description. So let's return to the database that we used in our beginner's guide for Microsoft Access. As you can see over here, there are a lot of different objects. I have tables, queries, forms, reports, and some macros and modules. But let's think about some actions you may do in Microsoft Access. First of all, I might double-click here and open a form. I also might run a query and look at my data. I can also open a table or maybe open a report. But what if I wanted to automate these things and just with one click of a button, do a whole slew of different things in Microsoft Access? I could see a scenario in Microsoft Access where you may want to open up a form, click a button, and that button will run an action query and then open up a report or another form based on the result of that action query. And all of that can be done at the click of a button by using a macro. So let's go and create a macro. To access a new macro, I'm going to go to Create and go over here on the ribbon to Macro. And when I do that, I get this drop-down menu right here. And there are a lot of different things that can be done on here. I'd just like to go through a few examples for you. Maybe I want to find a record on a form once I have the form open. Maybe I want to close the database, or maybe I want to delete a record. But if I scroll down, I can also see I can open a form, a query, a report, a table. I can print an object or go to print preview, save a record, and lots of other options that you have in here that you can customize your database with. There's also various actions over here in the action catalog in addition to what you will find in this dropdown. But for now, what if I wanted to open my parts form? I could scroll up here and go to Open Form. And once I pick an action, I get what's called arguments that are associated with this action. So the first argument here is, which form do I want to open? Well, I only have one form in here, so I'm going to pick that one. I can also choose which view I want for that form. I can open the form in Form View, Design View, Datasheet View, but I'm going to keep the Form View for now. I can also filter my data on that form or enter a where condition, but for now, I'm just going to go with opening that form. And next, let's say I want to open the report as well. So which report do I want to open? The only one that I have in there. And I'm going to open that one, let's say, in Print Preview. But notice here, I can also print it directly without even opening it in Print Preview if I select Print as the argument right here. But I want to open it in Print Preview so I can show you what it looks like on the screen. There's a lot of other actions I can add, but when I run this macro, these two actions are going to run together. So if I go to Save, I can just type in, I like to use MCR, Open, Form, and Report. If you are liking this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell button to get notified when we release our weekly videos. Now that macro shows up over here under my macros. So I'm going to close this for now, and if I double click on this macro, it's going to run and it's going to do exactly what we told it to do. You can see that the form opened here and the report opened here in Print Preview. Now, what do I do with my macro and how do I access it? Now, there are several different ways to run your macro. The first is I can double click on my macro over here. But if you're creating a database for end users, they may not know to go over here and double click that macro, or they might feel uncomfortable just running something called this. So one thing you can do is create a form by going up here to create and just go to a blank form. If I right click here and go to design view and go up to form design, I'm going to put a button on this form by first selecting here, and I can tell the button is selected because it's highlighted in a red box. And then I'm going to go back to my form and just draw a button. Now a wizard will come up, but I don't want to go through that wizard. I'm going to hit cancel. And I'm going to right click on my button and go down here to properties. And the properties window will show up. Now by default, the button is given a name right here, Command 0. I recommend changing that name to something else, but for now I'm just going to leave it. Because I want to show you, I can just go to the Event tab up here, and under On Click, there's an arrow right here, and if I select that, I can see all my macros here. So I'm going to select the macro that I just created. So what are these events? We'll have a video that goes much more into event-driven programming, but for now, it just means I selected the button, and what's going to happen when I click the button. So if I right click on the tab where my form name is and I go to form view, when I click this button, the macro will run. So watch. You can see my report has opened and my parts form has opened and my other form is still open right here. And one last tip I would like to leave you with today. I'm going to save this form right here called Form 1. Just by hitting the save icon up here. And I'm just going to call this main menu and say OK. Now I'm going to create a special kind of macro by going up here to create and go to macro. And I'm going to create this macro to open a form. And the form I want to open is the main menu. Now when I go up here to save the macro, instead of calling it by whatever name I would like, I'm going to call it AutoExec and say OK. And the AutoExec macro runs automatically when I first open the database. So let's see what that looks like. So if I go to File, Close, I've closed my database, and if I go back to File and I open up my parts database again, you can see my main menu automatically opened because that's what the AutoExec macro told Access to do when opening this database. So hopefully that gives you a very brief introduction to how to create a macro. They are very, very powerful, and eventually we will show you how to convert the macros in a form to code inside Visual Basic. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and we'll get back to you. Thanks again for watching, and see you again next time. If you want to learn more about Microsoft Excel and Office, join our Academy online course and access more than 1,000 video training tutorials so that you can advance your level and get the promotions, pay raises, or new jobs. The link to join our Academy online course is in the description.
If you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're really serious about advancing your Microsoft Excel skills so you can stand out from the crowd and get the jobs, promotions and pay rises that you deserve, then click up here and join our Academy online course today.